Welcome to Gleaning and Gathering. I'm your host, Eric Heinlich, and today I want to talk to you about systems. Systems are super important, and for many years, I didn't realize how important they were. I thought if you just put a goal on the board and then just work toward it, somehow just make it happen, keep trying keys until you find which one that fits the door, that's the way forward. But in the book Atomic Habits, James Clear says we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems, and it's really true. And we all have a system. You may not realize it. You may not even have a very good system. You may not be intentional, but we all have a system, and you are running on some sort of system today. The question is just how intentional are you being with that? And how intentional are you being? Many times we talk about managing our time, but the truth of it is you don't really manage your time. We all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and it goes by whether we do anything with it or not. And so the question is, what are you doing with your focus and your energy? Those are the two things that you can really control. You don't control time. While we need long-term goals, and I meet lots of people that they just want to put a long-term goal out there and hope that they can get to it. Most people that I meet, they really just need to get some momentum in a positive direction. You know, moving car is easier to steer than one that's sitting still. And so if you're moving in a direction, even if it's not exactly the correct direction, eventually, as you are getting some momentum in a positive direction, you're going to be able to redirect that in a more refined way as you move forward. And so getting a system that will help you make some positive movement in a direction is super important. And I think it's the place to start. One of the things that I've been sharing with leaders over these past few weeks is this idea of the ideal week. And the ideal week is a tool that is in the Full Focus Planner. It's a great toolbox, really. The Full Focus Planner is, with lots of great systems that will help you as a leader to achieve your goals, to distill your dreams into daily actions, Michael Hyatt would say. It's a great tool, and it really is the concept that if you had 100% control of your time, how would you spend it? It's kind of a budget for your time. You know, I think Dave Ramsey says every dollar needs to have a name. Well, the truth is that every minute of your week also needs to have a name. And if you don't have anything that you're shooting at, you're probably not going to hit it. While no week is actually going to be ideal, it is important to have a target that you want to shoot at. So what are the things that you want to make sure are actually happening in your week? What are the things that are going to move you towards those goals, those objectives that are important for you? And that's what an ideal week does, is it takes that and you actually put it down on paper and say, when am I going to make time for this on a regular basis? And what I find is just that process itself is sometimes the nudge that I need to begin to work on those things that are going to actually make a difference in the direction that I'm going with my life. The way I spend my days is the way that I'm spending my life. You know, a lot of times people talk about what sorts of things do I want to do with my life? Well, the real question is, what are you doing with your days? Because that is where the battle is won or lost. And so you're not going to get this thing called your life out there somewhere. You're living it one day at a time. And so capturing each moment, capturing each day, and endeavoring to better steward that resource that you have in terms of where you spend your focus and your energy as time is passing will make you more effective. And so having a system to do that is super important. And for me, back in 2017, I started using the Full Focus planning system, and it has been a game changer for me. I tried lots of things through the years. Some of them were better than others, but by and large, most of what I learned the hard way. And I learned because what I was doing wasn't working. And so I kept trying to find a better system. And this has a lot of great research behind it. There's a lot of tools in this toolbox that You can use all of them, but you don't have to use all of them. It is purposefully analog. And so I know a lot of people are into digital planning systems today. Nothing against those, but the research shows that if you write something down, you are 40% more likely to do it. And the reality is that connection between the physical process of actually writing something down and our brain's ability to say, okay, this is what we need to be looking for. This is what we need to be focusing on. It's connected. And in this day of digital distraction, while you're planning on your device, you are also being distracted. It may just be me, but it seems like it's just a short hop, skip, and a jump from I'm going to do some planning here to I wonder what's going on over here on this social media app. I think that a analog planner makes a lot of sense, especially in this digitally distracted age. One of the things that I was sharing with the folks that were part of our schedule optimization workshop was this idea of batching. This is a tool that's been super helpful with the ideal week, putting all of the same kind of activity on the same day, vertical batching, or horizontal batching. And that's putting all the same kind of activity at the same time each day. And so those two things, really beginning to put things either together. So if people don't have a plan, I have a plan. If you don't know when you want to meet, you're going to go on my meeting day. Because when I'm in meeting mode, it makes sense for me to just keep in that space. And so putting all my meetings on the same day frees up time for me to be able to have deep work time to really think, to plan, and to work deeply on other things, undistracted by meetings. One of the things that I encourage people to do is to use a pencil, fill this out, this ideal week, and then rework it each quarter. Over the last 6.5 years or so, I've been reworking my ideal week every quarter, and it's helped me to make it iteratively better. Each time I see what works, and I also see the seasonality of it. A quarter two for me that is really ideal is not the same thing as quarter four. There are differences that I'm seeing, differences in sleep patterns, differences in the kinds of activities that are ideal when you're in that spring to summer mode versus when you are in the dead of winter. Beginning to see the seasonality of it, beginning to see, what is working, and then endeavoring to make that even better. Also, just thinking big picture, big blocks of time rather than, hey, I want to use 15 minutes for this and 15 minutes for that. Thinking about that and putting that down in our ideal week. What are the things that I want to do? And then giving 90-minute blocks to those things in my week. And then after I get my ideal week finished, I like to post it, to share it. So putting it on my wall, it's a daily reminder for me as I look at that. And then sometimes when I'm in the distracted mode again, looking back, wait a minute, what was it that I was supposed to be doing on Wednesday afternoon again? What did I say that I wanted to do? It's super helpful to be able to get refocused on those things that I said I wanted to do and that I wanted to make time for when I was sitting down and planning. There tends to be a degree of reactivity that happens to all of us. The phone rings, the email comes in, there's all this inbound communication that's constantly hitting us, and we're having to make decisions. And so really learning the discipline of taking time to sit down and focus on what is important. What are the things that God is calling me to, that I need to be making time for? And then as we fill out that ideal week, it gives us the ability to be able to push back when the urgent rises. When people are saying, hey, you need to come over here and help me with this. This is important to me. Well, wait a minute. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Or is this just another distraction? This next week, I'm beginning something that we're calling 2 months toward transformative action. And I'm going to be doing some group coaching with a group of leaders that have decided to invest in themselves, and they really see the need to put a new system in place in their life. My group coaching will provide them with training on goal setting and goal achievement. And the focus is going to be taking this proven system, this full focus planning system, and really implementing that into their daily life. A lot of people buy a planner, but just buying a planner is not going to actually make it work for you. And most things in life, I found, tend to work better if you've got someone who's coming alongside you and helping you learn to actually do it. You could get YouTube videos and learn how to play the piano. I don't know anybody who actually has. Most people that learn how to play the piano have a teacher. And so having a coach, having a trainer, having a teacher, someone who's going to challenge you and push you beyond your comfort zone is helpful if you're really going to implement things in your life that are different from what you've already done. We need the kind of pressure that comes from, I'm going to have to say this next Thursday if I practiced this week or not. I'm going to have to say if I did my assignment or completed that reading. And that's one of the reasons why many people go to college or take classes or do other sorts of things where they have someone who's giving them content, but is also holding them accountable for that process and helping them to move on a journey. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. And 2 months towards transformative action is really a program designed to take November and December, and with weekly coaching and with the content that I'm going to be providing them to help them start the new year with a new system. So they're going to have a supportive community. They're going to have accountability. There are resources, there's support, access to me personally. I'm going to be super involved with each one of them, but helping them to be able to take the next steps in this journey. So I'm super excited about it. There are a lot of really confident, competent leaders in lots of different areas, both in ministry and in business. They're already doing some incredible things. And so helping them to really take things to the next level and develop systems in their life, they're going to help them to be even more effective, just really is super exciting to me. I am thankful for what God has done in my own life and how he's helped me, and the way in which I've had mentors and leaders and others that have poured into me. And as I've grown and developed and been able to implement some of these systems into my life, I've seen how beneficial it has been to me personally. And I certainly am not somebody who's got it all figured out and has all the answers, and now I'm ready to share all those answers with the world. Instead, I'm kind of, like the parent that wrote the book, How to Raise Godly Children. And he wrote this wonderful book before he had kids. And so then after he had kids, he had changed the name of his book and his talk to some suggestions to parents on raising children. And then his kids began to grow up and they hit those teenage years. And he changed the name of his book and his talk again to Helpful Hints to Fellow Strugglers. And I feel like that's where I'm at. I'm in the helpful hints to fellow strugglers phase. I don't know how much that I can really say that I've done myself, except that I've definitely done lots of things the wrong way, and I've gotten the scars to prove it. And I've learned that systems really are where it's at. You've got to have a system, and a system that actually continues to pull you back to reality. A system that goes beyond just aspirations or temporary goals or even personal passion. For the first few years in life, in ministry, really, that's what I ran on. It was passion. If you can just get inspired, you can make things happen. And that works for a while, but it only goes so far, because the reality is that what goes up must come down. And you can be up today and down tomorrow. And if there's not something beyond just passion, you end up on a dead-end street. You end up in a place where you've got all these hopes and dreams, but no way to actually make it happen. I've been there. I've done that. I've gotten the t-shirt. I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. And there are a lot of young leaders that are really competent, and you may be one of those. You're able to make things happen just out of pure passion. You don't really have a system. You're just winging it, and it's working, and it has worked for you. But I just want to tell you, there reaches a point at some point when it doesn't work anymore. And unless you have systems that continually pull you back and refocus you on what is important, not just what is urgent, but what is really important. What are the things that are actually going to make a difference in the big picture and for the long haul? You end up lost. You end up in a spot where, yeah, you're busy. I mean, you're just doing all kinds of stuff. But you are running and getting nowhere. It's like being on a hamster wheel, you know? You're just putting in your time. And sooner or later, that leads to disillusionment. Like, why in the world am I doing this? Why in the world keep doing this? Because of my experience, I'm a huge fan of systems. Something that's going to pull you back. And what do I mean by systems? For me, there are some of these life-giving rhythms and routines that I have placed in my life that for me have become systematized. And so every week, for instance, my weekly review, and that's part of the full focus planning system, but sitting down at my desk with my planner and going over what were the big wins from last week, writing those down, reflecting on that, thinking about that. What was my big 3 for last week? What were the 3 things that I said I really need to get done if I don't do anything else? Review those. Think about how that went. How far did I get? Where am I at on that right now? Write that down. What do I need to do differently? What were the things that I learned from that? And then what do I need to start doing? What I need to stop doing? And writing that out and reviewing that work. There are lessons learned every single week. But for me, because I do that every week at the same time, in the same place, using the same pen, listening to the same music while I do it, there's a system in place that I know is going to help me make next week just a little better. Just a little better. I need to change this. I need to do this differently. And when I do that on a daily basis, daily review, weekly review, a quarterly review, those are the sorts of systems that when done consistently, when I'm making a plan, I'm working that plan, and then I'm reviewing how that plan went, and then I'm doing it all over again. When I'm doing that and doing that consistently, the result is that it's going to get better. It's going to get just a little better. And having those kinds of systems in my life, those prompts, those things that remind me, oh yes, that's what I need to be doing, pulls me back, reminds me of what's important. During my weekly review, when I review my goals and say, what was it that I said I was going to do again? What was it that was important for me to focus on? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. And so if you're one of these young leaders that's just running on passion right now and you've got lots of it, great. I really am happy for you. I am. I just want to challenge you to, along with that passion, begin to put some systems in your life that will help you go the distance. Someone said youth is wasted on the young. You've got all this energy, you got all this drive, you got all this passion, but you don't even know what you don't know yet. But if you can begin to put systems in place in your life right now that will help you to take that passion, that vision, and channel it in a direction, then you've got something. You got something that you can begin to build on. As a Christian, we're familiar with this idea. Read your Bible, pray every day, and you'll grow, grow, grow. We sing the song as a child. And it's really true. But what is that? It's a system. It's saying, we're going to do this consistently. We are shaped by what we repeatedly do. I just want to encourage you to focus on doing the things that will actually make a difference. And that's the work that we're going to be working with leaders on. Whatever you're working on, if you have a system and you're working that system, if you are continuing to make whatever you're doing just 1% better, week by week, month by month, year by year, I will guarantee you that in 2 years, you're going to be in a whole different place than you are right now. If you're a business, you're probably going to be making more money. If you're a ministry, you're probably going to be growing in a way that's healthier and better for your people. Whatever you're doing, I want to encourage you to begin to implement systems in your life that will help you to do it even better. And so if you're interested in our program, right now we're nearly full for this go around, but we'll be doing some more coaching in the future. And so if you are a leader or you know leaders that might benefit from this experience, feel free to reach out to us. You can find more information at HeimlichFamilyConsulting.com. And that is what I'm gleaning this week for Gleaning and Gathering. God bless.